Hello and good morning. Joe Justice here, coming to you live on December 14th, 2022. It is Wednesday. That means hump day. And we are almost exactly halfway through the month of December. Just a few more, what are we, 10 days away from Christmas? We are 10 days away from Christmas Eve. I hope everybody is having a great time. I hope that you've been making it out to all the Christmas parades. I hope that you've just had lots of fun with your family. I know there's a lot of obligations this time of year. I know there's a lot to do. I was talking with somebody yesterday about how big of a challenge this time of year is. But remember, always remember in the back of your mind, we did it to ourselves. We are the ones that signed up for all this stuff and did all this stuff. We are the ones that planned the schedules and made all of these things happen. So, enjoy it as much as possible. And if it becomes too overwhelming, remember you can always cancel it. You did it to yourself and you can undo it. There's no the spirit of Christmas isn't about putting a bunch of things in front of you to reach, a lot of commitments to do. It's about enjoying time with your family and friends and enjoying the season. So you shouldn't feel overwhelmed at Christmas time. You should see it as an opportunity to spend time with friends and family, to make memories, and these are the times, especially with kids, that they're going to be remembering as they get older. Just remember your childhood and all of the commitments and sacrifices that your parents made to make the Christmas season special. And also remember, too, that it was different in certain ways, especially a generation or two ago. We didn't celebrate Christmas for a whole month. We didn't, make it as a society. I mean, maybe not as an individual family. We didn't make all of these commitments and overextend ourselves so much. It was more about the Christmas than the Christmas season, and all the commercialism and everything, kind of bleeds in, and we build up all these commitments and we spend too much money, and and it becomes a real burden. But remember, it does not have to be that way. You can choose to simplify, to minimize. You can choose to make your Christmas season more about people and more about special events and special things than about trying to do all of the things. So always remember that. Always keep that in the back of your mind. I was wanting to talk a little bit today. A question that comes up quite a bit is how to get kids to eat good food. That's, child obesity is a real problem in America. Everybody knows that. And a lot of people have a really difficult time with getting their kids to eat good, healthy food. Now, what's funny is my two boys, my youngest boy will eat anything. I'm not super familiar with picky eaters because my youngest boy will eat absolutely anything. Anything you put in front of him, he'll eat it. It's no problem. He very rarely does he run into things he doesn't like. Then my oldest son, he'll eat just about anything. He has some strange things he doesn't like he doesn't like potatoes, which what kid doesn't like potatoes? He doesn't like mashed potatoes. He likes French fries, okay, but they're not his favorite food. But he doesn't really like potato wedges or mashed potatoes or au gratin potatoes, or the kind of things that like all kids like, which is strange. But what's funny is my boys don't. It's not difficult to get them to eat, but my oldest boy, he eats very slow, like slow in a way. I don't think I've ever seen another kid that he'll take an hour to eat a sandwich, and he just kind of nibbles around and takes a bite here and there. And it's not that he's picky about it; it just takes forever. And it's really frustrating if we're ever in a tight schedule and we've got somewhere to go. It's like, here, take the food. He never finishes his lunch meals at school or anything because he just always takes forever. Even when he knows he doesn't have a whole lot of time, it just takes him forever. It's very frustrating. But one of the things I've learned with them and some of my friends, so whenever you give parenting advice, Of course, you're dancing, you're flying too close to the sun because everybody's in a unique situation. Everybody, has challenges, personal challenges. Once it's one thing to have the abstracted ideas and then try to actually codify it and bring it down to an actual physical manifestation or two different things. So, whenever you give parenting advice, that's one of those situations where, you might say something and someone say, yeah, but you don't know my kid, which is true. Some kids are different. Everybody's different. It's same thing with marriage advice, same thing with other relationship advice, friendship advice, all these types of advices. They're fraught with chaos and disaster because everybody's unique and everybody's different. But I can tell you a few things that I've done that's really helped out with helping the kids eat healthy. Well, one of the good things that I'm really actually pretty thankful for is that schools these days, both of my boys have been taught to eat healthy. Now, the school food isn't necessarily all that healthy. All that healthy. The public school food, they have lots of cakes and crackers and donuts and just carby garbage food. Really, it's. I guess that's probably no different than we were kids. School food has to just be a certain type of food because they make so much of it. They can't have a whole lot of fresh fruits and vegetables and stuff like that. So that's fine, but they do a pretty good job at educating the kids on healthy foods and not healthy foods and what's good for them, what's not. One of the things that my boys actually ask a lot because they've gotten the education in school and they've been told a lot about it, is they ask, is this healthy? Is this good for me? Is this healthy food? And I'm always honest with them. I always tell them whether or not it's healthy or not. But the trick that I like to use, because I think it is important to, I don't believe in abstinence it's like you should never eat anything that's not good for you. You should never do anything that's not good for you. Food is a form of entertainment. And if you make things too strict, then that'll kind of have a boomerang effect, and that'll ultimately be negative. So what I like to do is I tell the kids that certain foods are a sometimes food, and I think that's also pretty important for adults too. I think that works right with adults. So I say this food is a sometimes food. They'll ask me, are cookies good for you? And I'll say, well, cookies are a sometimes food. They're fun to eat, and you can enjoy them. But you don't want to eat too many because you just want to have them sometimes. And I think that's exactly the same way with adults. Whenever you eat food that you enjoy, food that you really enjoy, you should have it sometimes. You shouldn't be too strict with yourself because that's going to end up ricocheting, and you're going to end up eating tons and tons and tons of that type of food rather than eating strict all the time. I mean, it's almost impossible. Most people don't have the willpower to eat perfectly strict all the time because food is a form of entertainment and humans like to be entertained, right? So that's one of the things to always keep in mind. The other thing is to always give kids variety. If you're going to give them some vegetables, give them two or three different types of vegetables to choose from. My diet basically consists of meat and vegetables. I don't eat a whole lot outside of that, and I usually do the same type of thing with the kids. I'll usually throw in some kind of a roll, some type of bread to go along with it. So if we have pasta, I might not eat the pasta, but I'll give them the pasta. Of course, kids love pasta, right? Pasta is it's one of those funny things because all that stuff is good. And then of course we also limit the desserts. We'll say you can have a certain size of dessert. And they know that desserts are a treat. They know that desserts are fun. They know that desserts aren't healthy, aren't good for them, but they're a sometimes food, and that really helps out. And also, we also encourage them to eat, to have options. We encourage them to try different foods. Well, sometimes I'll throw on a food that they've never had before, like mushrooms. I'll add mushrooms or something. Neither one of my boys like mushrooms. Of course, that's natural. That's one of those weird things too. When you're an adult, there's all kinds of foods that you really enjoy that you don't enjoy when you're a kid. Like mushrooms are a great example. I love mushrooms. Mushrooms are one of the best things in the world to eat. But when you're a kid, you don't like them for some reason. I never have quite figured that out. I guess the palate just gets better as you get older or gets more diverse or something like that. But we the other thing that I think is really important that I see from a lot of parents, and again, no throwing shade, no, saying you're a bad parent if you do this. I just think that this is not a very effective strategy. Is whenever you end up becoming a short order cook, whenever you fix a meal and your kid wants something different than everybody else, and you go along with it, I think that ultimately just reinforces the idea that they're able to just get whatever they want all the time. Um, I don't think that that's an effective long term strategy with kids. I've seen parents that end up like making one meal and for everybody, and then they have one kid that eats their own thing all the time, and I don't know how that could possibly work out in the long run. If they're a picky eater, they're a picky eater. They just won't eat. I mean, eventually they'll eat, or they won't. But if you're constantly customizing everything for them, you're just teaching them that that's what happens in real life, and that's not what happens in real life. You don't just get to pick and choose everything that you do all the time. You have to kind of go along to get along every now and then. So if they want to have their own kind of meal, like I say, every now and then might be okay, but really avoid being a short order cook because just don't see how that's an effective long term strategy. All right. Well, I hope that this was helpful for you. I hope you enjoyed it. Got a couple little helpful little pieces of information out of it. I hope that you have a wonderful Wednesday. It is Hump Day, and it is let's finish out this week strong and have a wonderful week. You guys have a great day today, and I will see you tomorrow.